Hello. Couple of things looking at discussion board. First of all, just some logistics. My apologies. I'm running a little behind on grading the discussion boards, but those will be done in the next few days um, before or by the time you get your midterm assigned. I should have the majority of your discussion board exercises graded. Um, as for this specific discussion board on um, the the Buddha's use of Hindu concepts. Some of you are getting parts of it. Um, I'm trying to think. I read through just about all of them so far. I got to go back and check again, but um, I don't think anybody's really gotten all of it. Though if you did, after I kind of go through this, and you're like, I did. Don't worry, I'll see it when I'm grading them. My reading is a little bit closer with the grading than it is with just kind of reading through to see where everybody is. Um, but there's some key things to remember. The one thing that many of you do get, and it is a huge thing. This is one of the most important parts. Is um, that while the Buddha uses the term dharma and talks about samsara, that's his kind of sense of the world. Um, that he, reincarnation, karma, all these things are kind of part of his world and the way he speaks and the things he discusses. He rejects the caste system as being um, really valid. He doesn't accept the caste system. There's nothing about caste required um, for the kind of passing into or getting, let me rephrase that, escaping the cycles of samsara. So yeah, if you got that, that is one of the key things. The Buddha rejects the caste system. For the Buddha, in one very real sense, anyone can achieve nirvana. Now, I say nirvana, recognize every semester, no matter how many times I talk about this, some students miss this. Um, Nirvana and moksha are two different things. Moksha is the Hindu concept. Nirvana is the Buddhist concept. In moksha, um, remember in Hinduism, you have within you this jiva, this kind of small s self, this soul that's attached to this realm, this soul that has all these attachments, and that's where your karma holds you back. Your karma is attached to your jiva. But deep within you, there is this true self, the Atman, that is a part of the Brahman. The Buddha rejects that as well. It seems there's no jiva, and it seems like there may be no Atman. Remember, one of the three marks of existence is no self or no soul. So that's a big difference between Hinduism and Buddhism, which creates some challenges. If he's going to talk about reincarnation, what does that mean? If he's going to talk about karma, what does that attach to? How does that persist? For the Hindu, you have your truest self, which is part of the Atman, which is eternal and longs for escape from the cycles of samsara, reincarnation. And it isn't directly affected by karma because karma can't attach to it because it is, in some sense, a part of the ultimate reality, a part of the truest reality in the universe, the very core of the universe itself, the Brahman. But you have a jiva that's attached to the Atman, and your karma, your kind of consequences of your actions, good and bad, right? What you're owed is attached to that jiva, and as long as the jiva maintains these attachments, and your Atman maintains attachments to the jiva, you're stuck in the cycles. But if you can break away, if you can detach, then your true self joins with the Brahman and moksha, and that's the kind of ultimate desire for Hinduism. Buddhism doesn't have moksha because it has no soul. There are various interpretations of how that works and what that means, but the real challenge is, how does karma then work? Because of the big difference between moksha and nirvana, what does the Buddha mean by karma? And what does he mean by reincarnation, by samsara? What are these cycles? Now, there are varying interpretations. If you remember the story of the Buddha, he saw all his past lives. What is the his if there's no soul? What is it that had these past lives? A more modernist, atheistic leaning Buddhist of today would say, well, that's all symbolic. That karma really is just consequences of life in the world passed on and on. It's like a flame, and this is a legitimate Buddhist example from ancient tradition, that karma and samsara work like a flame passed from one candle to another, right? What is it that's passed along? Is there any part of the candle? Is there anything in the sense of a thing, in the sense that the candle is a thing or the wick is a thing? Is there anything past? And there's not. So a lot of modernist and atheist Buddhists would say it's just a symbolic way of discussing the fact that we impact the world. So our goal is to be detached and not make kind of these negative impacts on the world around us, and in some sense not to impact the world, because we could do harm. We don't want to harm anything. We don't want to create detachments for anyone or attachments for anyone. We want to be detached, and so karma and samsara are really about the passing on of consequences from person to person. And so that explains, in essence, what many people would call bad luck or fate or something like that. It's all consequence. It's all from someone else's actions. We talk about your karma, but what's the you there to pass it on? Now, most Buddhists throughout history and around the world have still maintained some idea that you almost, I would say, almost contradictory, that there is something that passes from life to life. That when the Buddha saw all his past lives, they were all past lives of the Buddha, without trying to explain what that meant. Still rejecting the concept of soul, still denying the sense of a jiva. And so many Buddhists believe that there is something, but the Buddhists, they'll claim that the Buddha was not being atheistic, that he's making a point through negation, through apophatic, and I think we've talked about this apophatic tradition, that there is this sense of you come closer to the truth by denying it, by saying what it is not. It is not that, it is not that, it is not that. That's an apophatic approach. And that what the Buddha is trying to do is not really deny an existence beyond this physical realm, but he's trying to say in rather mysterious ways that you really can't explain that whatever is, whatever exists, whatever persists is so far beyond our abilities to comprehend. It's so other than what we are that we cannot talk about it at all. So that's a more traditional religious Buddhist approach to all of this. But that said, it still creates a different nuance for what we mean by karma, what we mean by samsara. And it certainly plays into that big difference between nirvana and moksha. So realize when you're discussing, because this is an important concept for your exam, when you're thinking about the way the Buddha uses Hindu concepts, realize that he uses the terms dharma, karma, and samsara. He uses all three of those, but he doesn't mean exactly the same thing. Dharma is the one that most of you are definitely getting. It's the way the world is, but it's the way the world is as embodied in the teachings of the Buddha. And it's a rejection of caste system. Dharma is the same for everyone. Everyone has the same obligations. Everyone lives in the same reality in some sense. And so there's none of this caste reality. Caste is not part of Dharma. That's part of the ignorance of the world, right? Of the illusion of this life. And what the Buddha wants us to realize is that everyone has similar obligations, and anyone can achieve nirvana from any place in life. Now, karma can affect a negative rebirth in most expressions of Buddhism. It can give you a positive rebirth in most expressions of Buddhism, but that's not the real focus. There again, that connection to caste, which most of you picked up on. You're not trying to earn a better birth in a better caste. You're really trying to move away from all consequence. So karma is the reminder to focus on your actions. What are your intentions? What are the potential effects to yourself and the potential effects to others? This is the focus of karma. Act in every way so as to reduce all karma and to create a sort of detachment from this life. So, and then again, samsara becomes a difficult concept because there's no soul to pass along. But there is a sense of past lives and of something passing along related to karma. So there's that similarity to Hinduism, but it's not exactly the same thing. And then, and then finally, that big difference between moksha for Hinduism and nirvana. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. But those are some key things to keep in mind as you're looking at these differences between them.